The strange idol in our culture of Charles Manson and his impact on popular culture. Welcome to People of the Free Gift, where we have live streams every Wednesday through Saturday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we cover cults, we cover the Bible, do verse by verse teaching, and we also do videos on Star Wars as it relates to philosophy. And we're glad that you are here. As you can see, if you're one of my longtime listeners, there's been some changes around here, and not the least of which I wanted to announce that the book that I have been working on pretty much my entire life, Sharing Jesus with the Cults, is now available through Amazon, and you can find that link in the comments. And I'm trying to put all of my links in the comments and not in the description because YouTube pretty much hates every other website on the internet. It wants you to stay only on YouTube, and so I'm going to try and win YouTube over by not having anything in the description other than the links related to this video on YouTube. And so, speaking of which, if you're new here, right over there, you're going to see a watermark that you can click on at any time, and you can subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit that bell as well to get notifications when I post, and go ahead and leave me that thumbs up while you do that. Up there, you're going to see cards that are going to link you to other videos, and also, like I said, right over here, you're going to see the live stream. Go ahead and post your questions, your comments, your concerns, hate mail, all that kind of stuff over there. And some of you probably are just kind of wanting me to get away from Charles Manson because you're freaked out by the pictures that I always put up behind me. And also right up here, connected to the conversation, Facebook. And I have our schedule, like I talked about, right over there. And so welcome, and let's go ahead and jump in. Today's article, we're following along with the Time Life, the Allure of the Killer Cult series, and we're still in Charles Manson. And we're talking about the article Explaining the Fascination by Richard Jerome. And I did the heavy lifting for you, so I'm just going to read part of it, and we're going to talk about it. And again, post your comments and things right here, and I'll be able to see that, and I'll be able to interact with you and what you want to know about this topic that we're addressing. So, Manson still holds a fascination because it's often hard for those of us who are not sociopaths to fathom that level of evil behavior. Psychiatrist Gail Saltz told Vice.com, it is human nature to have a fascination with the dark. And I want to know what you think about that statement. Is that a true or false statement? Does human nature, in and of ourselves, do we have a fascination with the dark? I want to know. Comments down below or in the live stream right here. And that's a fascinating thing. And are channels like mine just perpetuating this? Or do you feel like my channel and what I'm trying to do here and bring attention to it so we can reach out to them? Do you feel like that's a helpful thing? Again, comment down below. So, Manson's life and crimes have inspired some 30 books, and references to the killings crop up frequently in music. His own songs have been covered by the likes of Guns N' Roses, and he's been referenced in Sonic Youth's Death Valley 69, David Bowie's Sweet Thing, and Ozzy Osbourne's Bloodbath in Paradise, among many other tunes. What's more, composer John Moran's 1990 opera The Manson Family starred Iggy Pop as prosecutor Vincent Bugliosi. So, huge impact in popular culture, and we talked about this last time, that his aspiring career as a musician was rejected by all of the popular musicians of his day, all of the record producers of his day, and then you have these serial killings that are done as with him as the mastermind. He's behind bars, and then all of a sudden, record producers want to put his work out there. And all of a sudden, the celebrities of our day are recognizing him as a superstar or some kind of idol that people are going to be able to relate to and like if they cover his music. And so, to the end, Manson himself continued to attract followers, even if they weren't murderous ones. Websites, some proclaiming his innocence, have cropped up all over the internet. He received more fan mail than any inmate in California history. I want you to think about that statement. He has received more fan mail than any other inmate in California history. That is a scary statement. And again, it relates back to that statement, human nature, do we have a propensity to the dark? And what the Bible would address as sin. Well, we're not going to get into that here, but comment down below. And that was according to the State's Department of Corrections. An unsettling thought, perhaps. We have developed a very dysfunctional and perverse segment of culture which focuses on violence and the unstable fools who undertake it. The unstable fools who undertake violence. And again, I would say that our culture is fascinated with violence. I think we're almost obsessed with violence. We're obsessed with controversy. We're obsessed with debate. And, yours truly, I find myself very, drawn into a lot of different things, but I try and focus in on the debates that I think are helpful, not the debates that I think are unhelpful. Okay, and criminologist Brian Levin told Vice, Manson is celebrated and he should be in the dustbin of history. And, isn't it interesting that when you take history class, who are the people that you remember most? There's lots of names, lots of figures, lots of time periods, lots of places. Who are the ones you remember their names? I don't think there's anybody who's ever taken a history class who doesn't remember the name of Hitler. And yet, why? Why is it that we remember the people who did the most gruesome acts that we can think of? They're the ones that we celebrate, that we remember, and that we're conscious of, okay? So this is a pretty interesting part. Marilyn Manson, you may know, and obviously on the screen, that's why I focused on him. He chose his name. He came into the world, Brian Warner. He chose his shock jock name off of the two celebrities from the 60s. And that was Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, okay? And in 2000, he released a cover of Charles' song, Sick City. And Manson the Killer seemed to have returned the interest. And in 2012, Charles wrote Marilyn a letter from prison showing it right and printed here, verbatim, add syntax and all. Okay, so as you can see, if you can, I don't know if you can see this very well. Yeah, that's kind of coming through really odd. Okay, but it really scribbly writing, but it's not the scribbly writing that's the problem here. I'm going to read this to you, and you can see the insanity of this man. Okay. To Marilyn Manson, it's taken me a long time to get there from where I could touch M. Manson. Now I got a card to play. You may look into my nonprofit ATWA and all the way alive is what that stands for, interestingly enough. And give Manson what you think he's got coming for airs, trees, water, and you. Or I will pay Manson what you think Manson got coming. The music has made Manson into a Abraxas devil. Now, interestingly, when I was doing the tags for this video, I typed in Abraxas devil, and the other words that go along with that are demiurge and Gnostic, and I forget what the third one was. And so that was a really interesting thing. I thought that was just nonsense. But apparently, this was an allusion to some kind of figure. And if you know what that is, please comment down below. And maybe you'll get to it before I do the research, because I'm kind of curious. And I'm sure you would want some of what I got for what I got. It's a far out balance, beyond good and bad, right and wrong. So Charles Manson thought he was beyond good and bad, right and wrong. What you don't do is what I will do, and what you did a sing-along and let it roll and said how you saved me a lot of steps I don't need. It's not a need or a want. Cooped, coop. Cooped dash coop. That's what it says. Ghost dancers slay together, and you're just in my grave, sunstroker, corona dash coronas dash coronae dash you've seen me from under with it all standing on me. That's two dump trucks doing the same as CMF 00007. Charles Manson. How do you like that? I want to hear your comments on that letter from Charles Manson to Marilyn Manson. But why do you think it is that Marilyn Manson decided on his name based off of Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson? And what kind of impact do you think that Charles Manson and the other cult leaders that we have in our past as well as in our present, what role do you think that they play in popular culture? And why is it that Guns N' Roses, David Bowie, Marilyn Manson, and even shows that are on and movies being produced right now, books on Waco, Texas, and Jonestown, and all these things that are going on in our society? Why do you think that is? I want to hear your comments down below, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. But join us next Thursday. We're going to get back into the cults, and we're going to be talking about the sealed portion. If you don't know what that is, I've been having an interesting conversation based off of my video on Christopher Nemelka that you should go back and check. And I got into a conversation with one of his followers, and it's been interesting. And so I wanted to share some of the things that I've learned as I've gone into conversation with him. But tomorrow, if you're a Bible fan, verse by verse study through the Gospel of John, chapter 15. And then next Wednesday, we're going to be, if you're a Star Wars fan, jump in. We're going to be talking about DJ and what we learned from the Last Jedi Visual Dictionary and Art of the Last Jedi, and that you wouldn't have picked up from the movie. But the following week, I believe, and this is the plan for right now, on Wednesdays, I'm going to start focusing on Wednesdays, my live stream, on teaching through the contents of my book, Sharing Jesus with the Cults. And again, the link is going to be in the comments right there. And so please pick up a copy, share that with others, and I would love to talk to you more about it. If you have a church that you attend, I would love to talk to you about the possibility of doing a via internet Q&A, live small group study with your church. And if you would like to invite me physically out to speak, I would be open to that as well. And so take a look. Let me know what you think. And I would really love to know if you did purchase it. I would love to hear from you and interact with you on that. But Wednesdays, 2 o'clock, and that's not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. And I will see you there. And until next time, may His power be with you.